Hey everybody, Chad back with another My Collection video for you. Trying to get the series filmed ahead of time and hopefully post about one of these a week. But basically today I'm going to talk about music, and for those of you who know me pretty well, you know I am a musician and have been one for a very, very long time. Started playing and singing in church and choirs when I was young, and played guitar and bass and a little percussion over the years and so forth. So, dabbled with this for a long time, had success with the Bleecker Street Cowboys, as well as some solo albums and stuff, and there are some videos on YouTube of those bands and stuff, so if you're interested you could go look those things up. But anyway, of course, being a musician, I'm also an aficionado of music, and I like all kinds of music, and really kind of funny when it came down to what I collect. And I did limit myself, because just like in any collection, again, liking so many things, you could just own so much and never use it and appreciate it. And so basically what I have, I try to use and listen to a lot. So I pretty much kept and collect those artists that meant the most to me, I guess, over the years. I did take a big hit a couple years ago now. As some of you know as well, I had some of my stuff went through a flood in Maryland, and I lost a lot of things. So I lost, believe it or not, one of my favorite bands when I was very young was the country band Alabama. And thank God none of the stuff was autographed, because that would have really been like a total loss. But nevertheless, my CDs and cases and everything were in the water and lost kind of in the flood. So I've replaced some of the CDs, and I will go over the bands that I collect and show you some of the collection, as well as some of the publicity shots and things that I have with them. So let's get going here again. Alabama is a very small amount of the collection, but I kind of wanted to, just show you a little bit of each. And was really into a band, a lot of the 80s country I really liked, because it was definitely not a traditional country thing, and the sound is what I really liked. And there was a lot of 60s musicians that came into country back in the 80s, and that's how country really progressed. Not really a big fan of today's country, but I liked that rootsy sound and that 60s sound that a lot of the guitars and the vocals and so forth came into with the 80s. There was a band, or a duo I should say, called Foster and Lloyd, and Radney Foster and Bill Lloyd were the two singer-songwriters that got a shot and actually got a recording contract. And I collect Radney. He's like one of my favorite singer-songwriters, and I was blessed enough to be able to see him in concert several times. He's very generous, and he will sign pretty much anything you put his way. So I know there's a little bit of glare here, but most of my, pretty much all my Radney Foster CDs are autographed, and so to me that's rather special to have that. I did get very happy when him and Bill did a reunion tour not too long ago, and I got all my Foster and Lloyd CDs signed as well, so I'm very happy about that. So Bill is very Beatlesque in his solo work. He's a big Beatle fan. He was in other bands as well, but just the two of them together. Liked a band out of Canada who had two albums called The Shooters, and this is one of them. I don't have that autographed, but I don't really know what those guys are doing. And there's another short-lived country band called Billy Hill, which was made up of like studio musicians in Nashville, and they were really, really good. Kind of really liked their stuff. And another band which was made up of Creedence Clearwater, Doobie Brothers, and Pablo Cruz members, called Southern Pacific. Had a really unique sound for the time. Guitar work was very good. They had some pop hits as well as country hits. Again, none of those are signed, but they collect those. Another band called the Mavericks, and Raul Malu, who's the lead singer, does a lot of solo work, has an amazing voice. And I believe the bass player was married to Trisha Yearwood at one time, who's now married to Garth Brooks. So anyway, kind of like a little country background. One of my favorite bands of all time is Restless Heart. And Restless Heart was a bunch of studio musicians who a couple producers in Nashville put together. And basically were like the Eagles. The harmonies were incredible. The musicianship was incredible. They've had a string of #1 hits, and they've crossed over. But I have had the privilege of meeting these guys on many occasions, and they have signed to like all my CDs. So this is very special for me. So Restless Heart is very influential in my collecting and my personal series. I also have, they kind of broke up for a period of time, and the drummer had another band called the Buffalo Club. I actually had him sign the CD. And Larry Stewart was the lead singer of Restless Heart, and now is back with that. But when he was doing solo career, he put out 4 CDs, and of course I got him to sign those. And he recently did a new one, even though Restless Heart is still together touring. He did a solo project, and I have that signed. So a lot of my CDs are signed. I collect Dwight Yoakam, who, you know, some of you know as an actor, and went with Sharon Stone, and he's very controversial kind of guy, was very good friends with Buck Owens. I was able to get some of my CDs signed from him. I did actually get to meet him at one point, was on his tour bus with him, so that was very exciting. And I'll show you some pictures that I got signed too. Also, love the Stray Cats, and recently got to see their 40th anniversary tour with one of my best friends, and we snuck backstage and got to meet Brian Setzer. So that was very cool. Didn't get my CD signed, but we got some other things signed. Also collect Journey, who, those of you rock aficionados know Journey. Steve Perry I collect. Haven't got any of those signed. Haven't had the privilege of meeting them. I also collect John Mellencamp, which I'm actually burning those CDs now, so they're in another location, but I've got one of his CDs signed. I also collect like Bruce Hornsby, who's an amazing piano man, songwriter. I even really love like Whitney Houston, amazing voice. I'm not a fan of everything she does, but I have a lot of her stuff. I have Traveling Wilburys, I have Chris Isaak, I have Bonnie Raitt, a lot of single albums. More of my main guys, I try to collect everything as far as they put out, but I have some single albums. I also have some movie soundtracks. Obviously, That Thing You Do, The Rocker, Rockstar with Mark Wahlberg, things of that nature. So I have those. Also, being a musician from Baltimore, I have a lot of local music from there, including my partner Andy Bopp, at one time from Bleecker Street, you know, has a lot of solo albums out. He was with Love Nut and Miracle Bra. They were kind of like a punk alternative music, rock. Have a lot of his stuff, a lot of independent people from when I was back in Maryland. Also a huge Jars of Clay fan from you know, the Christian music field, but they've crossed over into mainstream pop too, with songs like Flood and other things like that. So I had the privilege of having most of my collection signed from them, and Randy Stonehill, who is like one of the godfathers of Christian rock and contemporary Christian music, as we know it. I have almost all my CDs by him signed as well. So that's kind of who I mainly PC and collect, and you're not always me getting a lot of new stuff from these people, but every now and then somebody will come out with a new CD, and even on vinyl now, collecting a few pieces here and there of vinyl, but most of my CDs, I mean, transferring over to MP3 so I can take it with me wherever I go, and I don't really have to worry about getting the autograph cases destroyed. I will show you some of, I really like the press kits that come out, sort of like movie press kits, but for the artists. This is Hal Ketchum, who unfortunately is very sick now. He's a country artist. I met him a couple times, have his autograph. This was from the press kit from that Billy Hill album. Here is Southern Pacific. I've got a lot of publicity shots of them. Here's Foster and Lloyd. I have a lot of these actually signed. Radney Foster, different press kits, and he's basically so gracious about signing. I have pretty much everything of his that I could manage to get signed, and it's pretty much personalized to me. Here's Dwight Yoakam, which this is one of the ones he signed for me on the tour bus. I wish he would have signed more, but I didn't want to be a pig. So I do have other press kits of his, but I was able to get him to sign two, which that one I showed you, and here's the second one. He was able to sign two of those. So, and plus I have about 10 of his CDs signed, so I'm pretty happy with that. This is some more publicity shots. This is the Buffalo Club, John Dietrich from Restless Heart. Here's Larry Stewart when he was solo. I have the press kits of all his stuff in it. These are signed actually. There's a lot of Restless Heart stuff in here that's signed. And I've had friends say to me, Chad, you know, wouldn't one picture suffice? Well, it probably would, but it's so much fun to have multiple things signed by your favorite bands. And you know, again, every press kit photo I could get and bring to a show, they were pretty much gracious enough to sign for me. So yeah, I probably have way too much Restless Heart stuff signed, but again, they were, if you haven't heard them, listen to some of their stuff. Very Eagle-like. If you like the Eagles, you would definitely like these guys, and even have a really cool Christmas album out. But I have all those press photos and band photos signed. This last one is kind of a hodgepodge. This is Randy Stonehill's songbook, and that is actually signed. And it was Randy a long, long time ago, and me a long, long time ago when I was about 17, 18. I met him and had that picture taken, and then later on he signed it for me, so that was pretty cool. Back in the 80s, Randy, he has much, much shorter hair now, as you can see by some of these pictures he's signed for me. I do have the Bruce Willis press kits that I showed in my Bruce Willis video. These are actually where they live. There's Joey, my Bleecker Street compadre when he was in Montgomery Cliffs. And then some of the bands like Johnny, they were, and Gorgo Girls, they were national acts. Here is Love Nut, back when they were just getting going, and I have like some memorabilia like pics and so forth. So, you know, I love press kits, I love autographs. As I said, this is my music portion of it. I have a lot of DVDs from these bands and videos, have old VHSs that are signed, and a number of pictures on my man cave wall as well. So just wanted to share that with you guys. Again, I love pretty much any kind of music, 50s, 60s, like big band, blues, gospel, pretty much any genre. It's just these guys were the most influential, and if I collected everything that I really, really like, I would just have way too much stuff. So again, you never want to collect and go way in over your head. You want to, have it under control. So that's what I've got. So I wanted to share with you guys today. Got more of these personal collection videos coming up, and I hope you enjoyed this one. Hope I made it at least interesting to you. I didn't want to show you every single album and go through it, just again giving you a snapshot. of what I collect. But I do have more videos coming your way. So please like and subscribe. And when you subscribe, you get the alerts when I pop up a new video, which is about every week I try to do one for you. So again, please do that. Support all your baseball card channels, breakers, and TTM guys out there as well. And a shout out to all my friends on YouTube. So again, Chad signing off. Have a great day, and God bless.